Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, wherever you may be. I am Sam, and this is By Hook or By Needles. And why is there a little light on this? Oh, I never noticed that before. Alright, I'm just looking at a light on something. Never mind. I saw something shiny. Alright, today we're going to be doing something called the check. No, yes, the check stitch. The check stitch is going to feel and sound and look very familiar to a stitch we've already recently done, which was called the box stitch. The box stitch was a knit 2 purl 2 repeat pattern. This is going to be very much the same, except the number of rows we are repeating for is increasing. So instead of this being, the box stitch was a 4-row repeat, this one is an 8-row repeat. But please, no need to panic, because the repeat isn't like very intricate. It's just doing ribbing, but just changing the orientation of the knit and purl stitches after so many rows. So we'll get started. It is a multiple of 4 plus 2. So I have cast on 18 stitches. That way I can get, how many? 4 repeats? Yeah, plus 2. Now, I'm using an 8-ply yarn, which is a DK, which is also a weight of 3, or a 3 weight. And you won't be able to read this oh, hang on, maybe it's going to show up upside down. Typical. Come on. It's a 7 US, it says. Now I'm assuming, I always thought that the US had like letters for their hooks, and that would be the same for their knitting needles. But this is leading me to wonder that maybe that's not the case. Let me know if you're in the US. Do you have numbers for your knitting needles as they do in the UK, or used to in the UK? Now the UK uses millimeters as well, because that seems odd to me. But anyway, and a 4.5 millimeter DPN. And the only reason I use a DPN is just that they're easier for when doing tutorials. There's no reason, you do not need obviously to use a DPN when you're doing these stitches. I just find them easier to manage than a cabled knitting needle, which is basically the only other types of needles I've got. I've actually just recently given, hang on, I need to insert that. I've actually given all of my straight needles to the local charity shop, so because I just don't need them anymore. But anyway, so here we go. This is a repeat of, I'm going to start off, and I might have to bring out just a little bit. I'm going to knit 2, there it is, knit 2, bring the yarn forward, purl 2, knit 2, and purl 2. Go around. I'm doing this through the camera again, so it's not going to be easy for me, but hopefully I'll stay in frame for a change and won't wander off. Okay, so we're going to do knit 2, purl 2, whoops, almost lost everything, yarn forward all the way across, Hopefully by now you will recognize what is a knit stitch and what is a purl stitch just from looking at it, because that is going to make life a lot easier. Whoops, keep letting go. It's going to make things a lot easier for you in, with all these sorts of stitches. Okay, so the first row is complete. Now, for the next 3 rows, we will be purling the purl stitches and knitting the knit stitches. So, this is purl, this is a purl, this is a knit, this is a knit. Purl, purl, knit, knit. So you can tell the difference, and I'll just go over this again, although we have discussed this before. Pearls have like these little bumps, and I suppose you could think of an actual clam pearl as being like a little ball, and so that's like a little bally bump. And then you've got your knit stitches, which are like just V's. Okay, so for the next 3 rows, you purl the purl stitches and knit the knit stitches. So you will have 4 rows in total. And that'll be half of your repeat. So I can see that the next 2 are going to be purl stitches. And the next 2 are going to be knit stitches. Okay, so that's 2 rows done, and already you can see the little box formation that appeared when we were doing the box stitch. Well, I'm going to pause it there, and I'm going to work the other 2 rows, because as I say, there was, as I said at the beginning of the end of the first row, the next 3 rows are going to be purl the purls, knit the knits. So we've still got 2 more rows of that to do. So after 2 more rows, the pattern is going to change. So I'll just get us to that position where the pattern will change and show you what we need to do. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so here we are. Oops, I've wrapped my yarn around all these leads and cords everywhere, and I've got cats everywhere and everywhere. Oh dear. Okay, so we've done our 4 rows of basically ribbing. In order to do the check stitch, what we now do is the opposite for 4 rows. So we've done 4 rows of knit 2, purl 2, knit 2. So now we're changing, and we're going to do purl 2. So we just go in from the opposite side, and we just do our stitching to the opposite. So we are knitting the purl stitches and purling the knit stitches just for this first row. Just for this first row, to change the pattern, we are knitting the purl stitches and purling the knit stitches. I still look at it and keep thinking, oh, I'm doing it wrong, but I'm not. It's hard habit to break, but there you go. Okay. And we finish with 2 purl stitches. And then we turn it around. And now you can see we have purl stitches above our knit stitches. And if we pull that down, we can see the knit stitches peeking up over those bumps on the above the purl stitches. So we've reversed it, and we have to now, for the next 3 rows, stick with what we were doing before, and that is knit the knit stitches and purl the purl stitches. So it's just that one row in between where you're changing from one type of ribbing or order to the other, that you really have to sort of concentrate and make sure you do that correctly to get this pattern right. The rest of the time you are just knitting knit stitches and purling purl stitches, as I say, with the exception of the first row of the new of the changeover type of thing. So once again, we're at the end. And you can see it's starting to come together. So I will pause again while I continue and finish off the next 2 rows, which will then complete the full 8-row repeat and show you what it looks like. Back in a second. Okay, so here we are. We have done 8 rows, and as you can see, we get a nice checked pattern which is reversible, and I do like a reversible pattern. And you know, it's good texture, adds a nice bit of texture. 4-row repeat, not a difficult repeat to remember. I think sometimes people think, oh no, 8-row repeat, but it's you know, pretty much 6 of those 8 rows are the same, basically. So it's only 2 rows that are really going to actually be different to the, you know, the others. So, you know, don't sort of think of it as an 8-row repeat, just think of it more as a 2 4-row repeats that change. Sort of. But anyway, I hope you like the stitch. I do. I like it. I like any textured stitch, and it is a stitch, I think, that, you know, because it is reversible, I really love that too, obviously. Because it is reversible, it is great for, you know, scarves and all that sort of thing, and it adds lots of nice texture, which is always a good thing. Yeah, I don't mind this one, and it's one that I think, you know, as long as you're, you know, either marking off your stitches with pen and paper, or you've got a row counter, and, you know, or you can count the rows, you know, by sort of going, okay, let's have a look. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so I know I've got to change. Or you can count the bumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got to count the 4th one on the needle. So it's 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4. We know that we need to change. If you can count that, then you don't even need a row counter. You just need to, you know, remember to count every so often so that you keep the pattern consistent. But there you go. That is called the, has to look again to see the name, check stitch. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Come back again next Thursday, where we are doing, what are we doing next Thursday? Something called the ladder stitch. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I don't think it's necessarily technically reversible in the sense that it is exactly the same on both sides, but I think it could be reversible. Anyway, take care please, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.